Could this be the final chapter for TikTok in the US? Or is a high-stakes political move about to change everything? The battle over TikTok has taken a shocking new turn, and President Donald Trump has just made a bold move that could alter the course of negotiations. With a possible ban looming over 170 million American users, the US government is playing a game of chess with China, and Trump just revealed his next move. But will it be checkmate, or will China counter with an even bigger surprise? TikTok, the platform that has taken social media by storm, has been at the center of a geopolitical tug-of-war for years. But now, the situation is more urgent than ever. A 2024 law gave TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, a strict deadline: sell TikTok to a non-Chinese buyer or face an outright ban in the United States. That deadline was originally set for January 19, 2025. But as pressure mounted and negotiations stalled, Trump stepped in with an executive order, postponing the ban to April 5th. That means time is running out. But why is TikTok under fire? The US government believes ByteDance ownership of TikTok poses a national security risk. The concern is that Beijing could use the app to collect data on Americans, or even manipulate content to influence public opinion. Washington has been increasingly wary of China's growing influence in the tech world, and many lawmakers believe TikTok is a tool that could be exploited by the Chinese Communist Party. China's National Intelligence Law, passed in 2017, requires Chinese companies to assist in intelligence gathering efforts. This means that if the Chinese government ever demanded access to TikTok's data, ByteDance would legally have to comply. And with over 170 million American users on the platform, that's a lot of data. Everything from user location to browsing habits to personal preferences could be accessible. For the US, this is a major red flag. But banning TikTok is easier said than done. Not only does it spark outrage from millions of American users, but it also raises serious legal and constitutional questions. Free speech advocates argue that banning TikTok would be a violation of the First Amendment. After all, social media isn't just entertainment, it's a major platform for news, activism, and political discourse. Taking it away could set a dangerous precedent for internet censorship in the US. Beyond the legal battle, there's also the economic side of things. TikTok isn't just a social media app, it's a business empire. Thousands of American creators rely on it for income. Brands use it to connect with customers. Banning TikTok wouldn't just impact ByteDance. It would disrupt an entire economy built around content creation, marketing, and e-commerce. That's why the US government isn't simply banning TikTok outright. Instead, they are forcing ByteDance to divest its US operations. Several American companies, including Oracle and Microsoft, have expressed interest in buying TikTok's US assets. But there's a huge roadblock: China. China has made it clear that it doesn't want ByteDance to sell TikTok, especially not under US pressure. Giving up control of a business worth tens of billions of dollars would be a huge loss for Beijing, both financially and politically. The Chinese government has repeatedly stated that any sale of TikTok must be approved by China, and so far, they haven't been willing to play along. Enter President Trump. In a surprising twist, Trump just hinted that he might be willing to lower tariffs on China in exchange for a deal on TikTok. This is a major development because trade negotiations between the US and China have been tense for years. Trump has long used tariffs as a bargaining tool, and now he's signaling that TikTok's fate could be tied to broader economic negotiations with Beijing. During a recent press conference, Trump said, "Maybe I'll give them a little reduction in tariffs, or something to get it done." That one statement sent shockwaves through both the political and business worlds. Could the US be willing to make trade concessions to ensure TikTok is sold to an American company? And if so, will China take the bait? This strategy could go one of two ways. On one hand, offering a tariff reduction might be enough to push Beijing to approve the deal, allowing ByteDance to sell TikTok without losing too much face. On the other hand, China might see this as an opportunity to demand even more concessions from the US. Trade relations between the two superpowers have always been complicated, and tying TikTok's future to tariffs adds another layer of complexity. But let's not forget another key player in this game: the investors. Reports suggest that some of ByteDance's biggest non-Chinese investors are working on a plan to increase their stakes and take over TikTok's US operations. If they succeed, this could be the compromise everyone is looking for. TikTok remains operational in the US, but with American ownership. Vice President J.D. Vance recently stated that he expects the general terms of an agreement to be finalized by April 5th. But time is running out. If a deal isn't reached by then, what happens next? One possibility is that Trump could extend the deadline again, just as he did in January. He's already hinted at that option, saying that he's willing to push the date back if necessary to make sure the deal is done right. Another possibility is that negotiations could collapse entirely, leading to an all-out ban. This would mean TikTok would be forced to shut down in the US, a move that would undoubtedly spark major backlash. And then there's the wild card, China's response. If Beijing refuses to approve the deal even with the tariff reduction offer, we could see further escalation in trade tensions. China could retaliate with its own measures, possibly targeting American companies operating in China. That could lead to a new round of economic conflict between the world's two largest economies. For TikTok users, the uncertainty is frustrating. Millions of people wake up every day wondering if their favorite app will still be there tomorrow. Influencers who have built careers on the platform are scrambling to find alternatives. Businesses that rely on TikTok for marketing are bracing for impact. So, what's the most likely outcome? While no one knows for sure, experts believe a deal will eventually be reached. The sheer economic value of TikTok is too big for both sides to ignore. A compromise, whether it's a sale to American investors, a joint ownership model, or some other arrangement, seems more probable than an outright ban. But make no mistake, this is more than just a business deal. It's a geopolitical power struggle. It's a test of how much influence the US government can exert over a foreign-owned tech giant. It's a reflection of the larger US-China rivalry that spans trade, technology, and global dominance. And with just days left until the April 5th deadline, the world is watching. Will Trump's tariff gamble pay off? Will China agree to a deal? Or is TikTok's time in America running out? Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications because we are tracking this story closely, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Let us know in the comments, do you think TikTok should be banned, or should it stay? And what do you think of Trump's move to use tariffs as leverage? Let's get the conversation started.